Every observable fact we've found about reality does coincide and is consistent with evolution. Now, you are right that our understanding of the specifics of evolution changes over time. Nothing, no observable fact we've ever discovered has contradicted evolution or has completely overturned evolution. The fact that animals evolve and change over time has been consistent and is always consistent, and I predict will never be overturned. Now, the very fine minutia of which organisms evolved when and to where and which lineages died off and which ones continued, that understanding does evolve and change, pun intended, over time with our better understanding. So, for example, I mentioned the organism Homo rudolfensis. It's a hominid, an ancient hominid that lived 1.9 to 1.6 million years ago. My understanding is that people don't think that was a direct ancestor to Homo sapiens, but rather it was a lineage that died off. And that understanding might have been different in the past. It might change in the future if we find more fossils that give us a better picture of the past. Because when it comes to evolutionary history, all we can do is tentatively make a model of our best understanding of what happened. And when we get more information, the model doesn't just change, it improves. It gets closer and more accurate to reality.
Yeah, again, you said that everything that we see correlates to evolution.
I'm not aware of any fact that contradicts evolution.
Well, I told you at the beginning in my opening statement that the fact that there's information in our genome that can't come from non-conscious sources, that disproves evolution at the very beginning. Before you tell me about homology or transitional fossils or any other supposed evidence for evolution, you can't even explain. It's like, this is what evolutionists don't understand, is that you're trying to explain to me how things function on the third floor, but you haven't built the foundation yet. You can't explain to me chemically, physically, materialistically, how you can create life, or how life proteins can be generated from non-intelligent sources. Until you can explain to me how information can come from non-consciousness, how we have information in our DNA, and how that information is what codes for living organisms to be designed the way they are. Until you can explain that, you shouldn't bother explaining to me what's on the third floor of the house. You should tell me, like, try building up from the foundation, because biology is a science of life. Bios is life. Logos is science of. If you can't tell me how proteins form, right? If you're telling me that proteins can form by chance, if you're telling me that life can form by chance, or that you just don't have an explanation for that yet, you shouldn't be imposing naturalistic ideas onto later stages in your sort of development and thinking. You haven't got kindergarten right yet. You need to start at the beginning, tell me how life can come from natural sources, and then move on to thinking about homology and fossils and stuff like that. Until you can explain to me how life can come from non-consciousness, it's already over, right? Darwin's ideas have already been.
You touched on a couple things there. You kind of brought up abiogenesis a little bit, and once again, I mentioned this in my opening, that I don't have a full understanding. No one has a full understanding of abiogenesis. But you also mentioned DNA, and you said that DNA debunks evolution. Well, that's absolutely not true. DNA is the foundation of evolution. And it's also not accurate to say DNA is a language or a code. It's not. Those are metaphors to help us humans understand how DNA works. It's a nucleotide, which is comprised of a sugar, a phosphate, and a base. It's completely material. There's no magical, immaterial, or transcendent information in a DNA. It's just a nucleotide that tells other parts of the body what to do and what to build, and that's it. And you also mentioned in your opening a straw man. You said DNA is random, or that evolution couldn't make DNA because it's too random. But evolution is not random. Natural selection is non-random. The selection pressures through survivability and reproduction are what guide evolution. It's only the mutation that's random.
Okay. So again, are you actually saying that DNA is not a coded form of digital information?
Correct. It's not digital, and it's not a code, and it's not a language. Those are metaphors humans use to help us understand how it works. But all it is physical matter. It's a nucleotide, sugar, phosphate, and a base.
Okay. Would you say that Richard Dawkins is a better biologist than you?
100%. Well, yeah, obviously.
Okay. Well, I already quoted him at the beginning. He says it's pure information. He says it's digital information. Okay.
Yeah, he's using a metaphor to help people understand how DNA works. It's not literally a computer code because it's not made of ones and zeros, but
It's
it is.
literally
Um,
it's literally more densely packed with information than a computer code. It's more sophisticated than any software we've ever been able to produce and ever will be able to produce.
if that's the case, why on earth would you think someone created DNA?
What?
You,
I'm telling you that it's information, and information can only come from mind or consciousness. It had to come from someone, a personal being who created it. There is no other option.
if it's so complex it couldn't have been
What are you
created, then
saying
how
right
could
now?
someone create it? You believe God created DNA, but you also said DNA is so complex that it couldn't have been created.
By
So it
humans.
seems like you're contradicting yourself.
No, it couldn't have been created by humans because it's so sophisticated. It's beyond anything that we can produce.
Okay,
It's like if,
so
theoretically speaking, if you were to find a technological, an alien spacecraft, and it had levels of technology that were far beyond what humans can do, some people are surmising now that alien technology, because there's all these disclosure things happening, that alien technology has anti-gravity technology. We don't do that. That's not within our purview, right? That's beyond what we can produce at this moment in time, if that were a real thing. And but we can recognize it for what it is. It's a technology far more advanced than what humans can create. I'm telling you that when you look at DNA, this is what I'm saying. This is what some of the best thinkers in the world have said. This is coded language, digital information that is far, far more sophisticated than anything humans will ever be able to produce. They've even tested the simplest forms of single-celled organisms. They've put E. coli up against Linux, some of our best operating systems, software operating systems. They found that E. coli, which is one of our simplest living things on Earth, it's like basically light years ahead of Linux, right? Because the way that the efficiency runs in the E. coli genome, it's like a pyramid. It's perfectly efficiently designed, whereas our software is upside down compared to E. coli. That's just a single-celled organism. Now,
so I've got a
multiply that by
question.
orders of magnitude, like millions times greater, and you've got organisms like us. We can't even begin to fathom how amazing our DNA is, right?